life of the giant panda. The central Chinese giant panda has come to represent endangered animals. There may be just 1,864 giant pandas left in their natural environment, while another 600 pandas are housed in zoos and breeding facilities around the globe. Leaders in the preservation of giant pandas include the Smithsonian Institution's National Zoo and Conservation Biology Institute. Scientists and animal care professionals have been researching giant pandas' biology, behavior, reproduction, and disease since these enduring bears were introduced to the San Diego Zoo in 1972. In the natural environment of giant pandas, these experts are also in charge of ecology studies. To enhance conservation efforts globally, the Giant Panda team at the zoo collaborates closely with colleagues in China. Welcome to the Animal Channel, the one channel for all the interesting animal facts around the globe. Ready to dive in? Let's go! The black and white bear known as the gigantic panda has a bear-like physique. Its ears, eye patches, muzzle, legs, and shoulders are all covered in black fur. White covers the remainder of the animal's coat. Although experts are unsure of the origins of these remarkable black and white bears, some suggest that the vivid coloring serves as an excellent kind of concealment. And stationary giant panda blends into areas of dense bamboo and virtually vanishes among snow-covered rocky outcrops on a mountainside. However, when you take into account that enormous pandas don't have any natural adversaries to run from, this theory is invalid. Another hypothesis is that the pattern may in some way amplify social cues or enable giant pandas, which are normally solitary creatures, to recognize one another at a distance and avoid social interactions. Another hypothesis contends that the white reflects heat while the black absorbs it, keeping giant pandas' bodies at a constant temperature. Sadly, there is no definite explanation for why gigantic pandas are black and white. The giant panda has spent many millions of years living in bamboo forests. It is a very specialized creature with particular adaptations. The panda stays warm in its habitat's chilly woodlands because to its thick, woolly coat. Giant pandas can break tough bamboo with the help of their massive molar teeth and powerful jaw muscles. Giant pandas may be considered charming by many, yet they may be just as dangerous as any other bear. The physical traits of giant pandas do not convey visual cues. Their faces are flat and unimpressive. Due to their short tails, they are unable to flag signals to other giant pandas. Their ears aren't flexible enough to cock forward or flatten, and they lack a crest or mane to raise. Due to their environment and solitary lifestyle, it is believed that giant pandas never evolved these visual aids. Giant pandas reside in dense, foggy bamboo stands that impede direct lines of sight and any possible visual communications. When playing, giant pandas to occasionally vocalize. They become exceedingly talkative during mating, using incredibly precise vocalizations to convey all emotional states, from love to rage. Scent marking is how they communicate most effectively throughout their environment and territory. Giant pandas use their anal gland secretions to rub tree trunks, boulders, or the ground to mark their territory. They typically do this along areas that they frequently travel. Giant pandas in close proximity are made aware of one another by scent marking. The fragrances could either assist the big pandas come together or separate them depending on who reads the mark. A scent mark that is unexpected will typically be enough to make a potential intruder walk away outside of breeding season. But during breeding season, a female's smell mark signals her readiness for sexual activity and attracts males to her. A male's fragrance that a woman is familiar with and has previously encountered increases her likelihood of accepting him. Giant pandas can grow up to a height of 2 to 3 feet or 60 to 90 cm at the shoulder on all 4 legs and a length of 4 to 6 feet or 1.2 to 1.8 meters, making them roughly the size of an American black bear. In the wild, males can weigh up to 113 kilograms or 250 pounds, making them larger than females. Females rarely weigh more than 104 kilos or 220 pounds. Although adult giant pandas are typically solitary, they occasionally communicate through scent markings, cries, and brief reunions. Additionally, according to recent studies, communities of 7 to 15 gigantic pandas may grow among the local populace. These individuals live in a group territory where the home ranges of the males almost entirely overlap those of the females, but only to a much lesser extent. Different groups members typically avoid interacting with one another. From 1.5 to 3 years, children remain with their moms. Numerous zoogoers like watching the big pandas eat. A panda typically eats while posing erect, similar to how people sit on the floor. With the help of a pseudo-thumb, made of an extended and larger wrist bone covered with a fleshy pad of skin, this position frees the front paws to grasp bamboo stems. The thick, fibrous bamboo is also broken into pieces by the panda's strong jaws and teeth. Because the digestive tract of a giant panda is more like that of a carnivore than a herbivore, a large portion of its food is excreted as waste. A panda needs to eat between 70 and 100 pounds of bamboo every day to receive all the nutrients it needs to compensate for its ineffective digestion. A panda needs to spend 10 to 16 hours a day foraging and eating in order to gather this much food. It generally sleeps and rests during the remaining hours. Between 4 and 8 years old, giant pandas are ready to breed. They might continue to reproduce into their 20s. The only time a female panda ovulates is in the spring. A giant panda can only conceive for a brief period of 2 to 3 days around ovulation. Males and females are attracted to one another through calls and odors. Between 90 and 180 days after mating, female giant pandas give birth. Even while females are capable of having 2 offspring, typically only one makes it. Before venturing out on their own, giant panda cubs may remain with their mothers for up to 3 years. As a result, a wild female can only give birth to offspring once every 2 years at most. Due to their modest natural reproduction rate, giant pandas are not able to recover fast from human-caused death due to illegal hunting, habitat destruction, and other factors. A giant panda cub is defenseless when it is born, and its mother must use a lot of energy to raise it. A newborn cub is roughly the size of a stick of butter and weighs 3 to 5 ounces. The cub is pink, hairless, and blind, and it is just 1/900th as big as its mother. The only infant marsupial smaller than its mother relative to her size is a marsupial, like a kangaroo or an opossum. When they are 6 to 8 weeks old, cubs first open their eyes, and they are not fully mobile until they are 3 months old. A cub may breastfeed for 8 to 9 months and is nutritionally weaned at 1 year of age, but they may take up to 2 years to wean them socially. In the wild, giant pandas often take 2 to 4 hours long naps in between meals, either spread out or curled up on their side, back, or belly. A big panda continues to urinate while it sleeps. One way to estimate how much time a big panda spends at a rest area is by counting the number of droppings there. There are 5 to 10 feces during a brief rest of less than 2 hours. Rests longer than 2 hours are frequently accompanied with 11 to 25 droppings. Most rest times last between 2 and 4 hours, although during the summer they might last up to 6 hours or longer. Only 1,864 giant pandas remain in their natural habitat, while an additional 600 are housed in zoos and breeding facilities around the globe. Habitat loss is the main danger to the survival of giant pandas. For agriculture and timber, people have removed forests because they need to eat and make money. Due to habitat fragmentation caused by this logging, tiny groups of pandas are now separated from one another. Small populations are more vulnerable to extinction as a result of genetic or environmental factors like inbreeding or drought. As panda groupings become more dispersed, it is more probable that reproduction, illness resistance, and population stability will be compromised. Small populations cannot recover the same way that large populations do. The Smithsonian Zoo has been preserving one of the most important panda conservation initiatives in the world for more than 40 years in order to honor these enduring bears. By examining giant panda behavior, health, habitat, and reproduction, the zoo's team of scientists, researchers, worldwide collaborators, and conservationists has made significant progress in rescuing the species from extinction throughout that time. Every year, ecologists from the Smithsonian Conservation Biology Institute spend months in China researching wild pandas and the animals that live nearby, like takins and Asiatic black bears. They train Chinese colleagues in the use of geographic information systems and other cutting-edge methods for tracking wildlife to carry out censuses and surveys of large mammals, such as wild giant pandas. They are also attempting to locate fresh environments for the reintroduction of gigantic pandas. According to field studies, wild pandas' habitat is very fragmented, which makes it challenging for them to mate. Scientists at the zoo and its associates have been looking into the potential of developing corridors of trees that connect disparate habitats in order to solve that issue. These passageways would allow giant pandas greater alternatives for travel and mating. They might also help with the release of pandas raised in captivity back into the wild. These mystical creatures are only found a few in the wild, and we must do our best to save them and protect what is left. Scientists are unsure of the exact cause of the characteristic black and white patterns on giant pandas, despite the existence of numerous ideas. But as the Chinese say, let us balance the black and white of this world to live in harmony. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, and comment below. Turn on the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos.